Yeet. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Culture 316. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
Join with your co-host, Mo. What is up, people?
Thank you guys so much for joining us once again. Once again, if you are streaming on any platform, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcast, I don't even know what other platforms they are, Pandora, Amazon Music, or whatever. Be sure to rate the show 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Just a quick heads up, Collision is this Saturday. I don't think we're going to be doing a space for it, but we will be doing a space for whatchamacallit. We will be doing a space for the Forbidden Door, which is on June 25th. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a nice little fun time. But anywho, we're going to keep rolling because we have a pretty brief show, but it should be fun nonetheless. So first things first, we closed out the show last week talking about Chat GPT, which is an AI, artificial intelligence tool that's meant to kind of start conversations and respond in a very human-like manner. And ChatGPT gave its top 10 men's WWE finishers of all time. Mo was curious as to know what were the top 10 women's finishers of all time and was very disappointed. And so I said, hey, you should have a top 10. You should make your own. Or she said that, I think she said that she was going to have her own top 10 list. So we're going to start off this show with Mo's top 10 list of women's female finishers of all time. So Mo, take it away.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to give explanations as to why, only because I feel like you're going to come at my neck anyways. All right, so number one, and I thought this was accurate for ChatGPT to say the Stratisfaction. Think everyone could agree with the Stratisfaction just because, I mean, like, she's the number one diva of all time. When you think of greatest female wrestlers, you think of Trish Stratus, and I sure as hell as a kid was busting out a Stratisfaction. I in fact busted my own cousin's nose on my my birthday in third grade because I grabbed this man's head. Sorry, this boy's head, ran up my couch, swung around, and smashed his face into the carpet that had concrete underneath it. And he had a bloody nose, and he had to get taken to the hospital on my own birthday. So that's gonna be number one, just because.
With that story,
it's near and dear to my heart. It works. Number two, we're gonna go with the bank statement, and I know some people are probably gonna bark at me for that because it's like, well, why not follow up with Lita? To be honest, I love the bank statement not because of the move itself being like amazing, but I just love the fact that it comes out of nowhere because it's not the same setup or the same transition that gets you into the bank statement. It could be a counter move. It could just come out of left field. The way that Sasha utilizes it always makes it, to me, a very exciting ending when she finally gets it and it does actually like finish off the match. So I'm going to give it the number two just because of the excitement that goes into the bank statement. Number three, I'm going to give it to Lita with her Lita Salt. Mainly because I feel like she opened doors. First of all, when she pulled out the Lita Salt, it was around a time where girls weren't like really advanced in wrestling. So when she did it, because she was like the only one really doing like an aerial tactic, minus like Molly Holly doing like the Molly go around and stuff like that. Like, you didn't see someone flying through the air besides people like Ray and Jeff Hardy. So to see a girl do that and do it fearlessly like Lita did, and she pulled out that move anywhere. She done it in a steel cage match too. I was like, yeah. To me, I just thought the shit was just like fire. And like, you know, now when we see any type of moonsault moving forward, we compare it to Lita's. Whether it's Charlotte, whether it's Io Shirai, whether it's Tiffany Stratton, we always compare it to how good Lita pulled it off. So I'm gonna go with that. My phone just turned off. Number four, I love AJ Lee's Black Widow. I love it so much because it's already hard enough being as tiny as her to come off convincing. And that move, like, is so realistic. It makes sense. It's like, all right, she's so tiny, she's not going to necessarily flip you over or pick you up or do anything that's like a big man move. It only makes sense for someone of her stature to try to strike you or to try to tire you out. And like that's like a move where she kind of got you in like a Venus flytrap position or some shit. She just can't get you out of her web, hence the name. So
Right.
I love that. Number 5, again, I'm a sucker for submissions, so I'm gonna give it to Asuka. I love Asuka's lock. It's the way she does it too, because she does it so fast. Like she just gets you like
It's quick.
whiplash.
Literally.
Yes, she'll throw herself at you horizontally when she does it too. Like she doesn't just grab you and then go on to you. No, she hops on you and just like zips right in and pulls you down. I'm like, yo, wait, what the fuck? Like, how did you pull that?
Right.
So I love that. Her transitions into the Asuka lot are fire. Number 6, I feel like it's fair considering that you got the attitude adjustment on the first list, that we have to put the KOD, because the way that Bianca has been pushed for the last 2-3 years, 2 years basically, you have to, because that move is very protected. And not only that, but that girl has lifted up multiple bodies at a time doing the
Yep.
KOD. That's what makes it so impressive. Like she's had powered up people from being on her knees or being on the floor, got them onto her shoulders, and then like fully all body weight, all her strength.
Top rope as well.
Top rope as well. Like it's a move where it's also very innovative, but like it's all strength, which shows off her character very well. So I love the KOD. I feel like it's pretty protected. It's some people do have kicked out from the KOD, but I feel like for the most part, it is like taken seriously as the FU or AA. My personal opinion.
Mm.
This one I feel like people might stone me for, but I love Michelle McCool's Faithbreaker.
Really? I did not
I
expect that to be on the list. I think
really,
it's a good. I think it's a good finisher, but I didn't expect it to be on your list.
I love it because I feel like at her time when she was wrestling, especially during the Divas era, she was the only few of the girls that wrestled very aggressively for me. Like she wrestled like a dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she like would hit her signature with the big boot, and she would hit her finisher. Like it looked it clean, it looked it crisp. I just love the way she executed it and the way that it finished off the matches. So that one I understand is some people don't want to agree with me on it. But moving forward, I love for number 8,
Mm.
Shayna Baszler's Karafuda clutch. The level
Ooh.
of aggression that she puts into it, especially because she does have like an MMA background and shit like that. When I used to watch her on NXT, she was a monster. Like, soon as she hit it, I was just like, God damn it, she got the belt again.
She
Just
got it back.
because. Yeah. Like, that move for the longest was protected, but it was like the emotion that she put into it when she did it. Like, she did it like she was trying to tear your head off. I don't know if she was actually trying to choke you out or she was trying to tear off your head, but her execution of it was always on point. It was very different from everyone else's move. I'm a sucker for submission moves because they tell a better story. Kind of like how I always refer to both times Bianca lost when she was in the Karafuda clutch, because for the longest everyone was tapping to the move, but the story that they told with Bianca that I love and hate is that she just passed out. She just chose to just pass out.
Mm.
So I love submission moves. I love the story she could tell with it. Number 9, the only recent person who I feel like deserves to be put on this list is Sol Roca.
Mm.
I love
I
her
love her
finisher.
I love her finisher. Yeah.
I never seen anything like that before in my entire life, and it's such a dangerous move. It is reckless. It is very reckless because she could easily snap and break her neck, but she hits it every single time, crisp, 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 crisp. And it's like, as I stated before, it's like Evan Bourne and Randy Orton had a baby together. Like she just pops up in the air, does a flip, and then boom, hits the RKO with it. I'm just like, yo, that's fire. Like that, I never seen it before. If anyone knows the origin of it, please let me know. I never seen that move before, so I feel like it has to go on my list for that reason. Number 10, I had such a hard time. I was fighting between putting Ember Moon's Eclipse, because that is just a thing of beauty.
That's such a that. Oh my god. I remember when I first saw the Eclipse, I was like, nah, this has to be my favorite. It was at least when Ember was in NXT, it was probably my favorite women's finisher. Because of
Yeah.
how well it was utilized. So
Yeah. Like when she does it, it like looks like she's about to hit a swanton because she's kind of like flying with her arms back, and it looks like she's gonna like nosedive and fall, but then she just twists last minute, and then just like hits you from the back and kind of stuns you. So to me, it's just like it's a beautiful move to look at. A, B, I had never seen it before, and it goes so well with her character because she was kind of like, I wouldn't say like a mythical character per se, but she was like what, almost like a
Like a
Viking
yeah,
slash
like
werewolf or something. I
I was
don't
about to
know.
say like a more of like a werewolf type of
Yeah,
situation. Yeah.
it kind of like was like she was saying, "Oh," like when she's going in the air and she's doing it, and she's kind of like stunning you. So I just love the whole visual. It looks so majestic, especially back in NXT. But then part of me wanted to go. There's three answers I actually had. I either
Okay.
had that, the Widow's Peak by Victoria, just because as a kid, for some reason in my head, I thought that shit looked very devastating. I don't know
Mm.
why, but it always looked devastating, especially when she was playing her psychotic character.
She hit that joint extra hard when she was like a heel.
Yeah, yeah. And then this one, the only reason why I love the way that it looks, but I didn't put it on the list, but I was also fighting for number 10 as well, was the Code Red from Zelina Vega, mainly
Whew.
because she does it so well, but I love that, the story behind it is that, like, not for nothing, the Amazing Red's one of the best wrestlers on the freaking planet. I mean,
Yes.
even Rey Mysterio took some of the Amazing Red's moves just because he's that good. And a lot of
Right.
people don't even know where the Code Red came from. It came from her cousin, you know? Came
Yeah.
straight from her cousin, and she's paying him homage every single time she goes in the ring, and she does it. And she does it very, very well for someone as tiny as she does. I think that even Alexa Bliss tried doing the Code Red. And I don't give her any credit, but I will give Alexa Bliss this. She does an actual decent Code Red. When it's
Yeah,
done
she does.
correctly, it's such an interesting move to look at. But
That makes
yeah,
sense.
I had some honorable mentions I want to get off my chest really fast with no explanation. I like Melina's last call.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I just like the fact that she added the screaming there like a psychopath, and she would do like a little sunset flip. I like Zoe Stark's move when people know how to sell it correctly.
Right.
The 36K 360. Naomi's split leg moonsault. It's just a fun move to look at. I know it rarely finishes off a match, but I just like the way she does it. Um, and then the last two have to go to Tiffany Stratton with her moonsault because she has like the nicest moonsault to me
She
currently in the
does.
game.
Cleanest moonsault ever.
Just pretty.
It's the
And
prettiest moonsault ever.
it is. It
That's
really
true.
is. It really is. And then the last one, I was going to give it to Dakota Kai's chiropractor just because the name makes me laugh because it just fits so well.
Literally.
The name
Cause
goes
she
with
be
it so
breaking.
well. Yeah, no, for real. Like, and it's again something that I'm not used to seeing. So when I first saw, I'm like, oh wow, that move, like, it's just clever. It's just a really clever move. But
Right.
it rarely ever finishes the match, and I'm not even sure if she uses it right now. But it was like one of my favorite moves to look at in NXT. So that's my top 10. Anything you agree with, disagree with, things you would swap out?
I have to like digest that, and but from the first impressions, I really like that. Um, I really like that top 10. That was a good top 10 and great honorable mentions because I feel like Tiffany Stratton has the potential to have a top 10 finishing move just simply off of her execution. But I feel like we haven't seen it in like, obviously we've seen her. Hold on. Like we haven't seen it. We obviously her win it like the NXT Women's Championship with it. But I feel like as she continues her reign, it's going to be more and more valuable. And then when she goes on the main roster, it's going to be more and more valuable. I think it's just ultimately kind of how it's utilized and where it's utilized moving forward. But from a move standpoint and from an execution standpoint, I think that it's fantastic. But I agree with the list. I definitely agree with the list so far. So, but I'm gonna come back with my top 10 next
Oh,
week.
okay.
So, but we want to know from you guys, how did you feel about that top 10? Let us know in the comments below. But we are going to move on. So, this past week, I would say Friday and Monday, we received two brand new championships. Well, three technically. No, two. Two brand new championships. We received the WWE Women's Championship that was given to Asuka, and then we were also given the WWE World Women's Championship, which was gifted or given to Rhea Ripley. I think that this was more so a move on WWE's part for rebranding of both championships so that they wouldn't have to necessarily continue to do the SmackDown title versus the Raw title. Plus, World and WWE Women's championships just kind of sound more prestigious and more official. I feel like there's a lot of credibility to both. But from an aesthetic perspective, um, I wanted to know which was the better looking women's championship belt.
Geez, I think that's so hard because I'm looking at them right now, and I almost like the white strap a little bit more than the black strap.
Really?
Um, yeah, I don't know why. It's very pretty. It's just very pretty.
You know,
Um,
it reminds me of the Intercontinental title. When the Intercontinental title had that white strap on it, I think it's clean. It's clean as it's super super clean.
yeah, and then whoever comes out in all white gear for whatever pay per view, this is going to look heavenly, like
Oh my god.
very much. And of course, I'm gonna lean towards Seth's replica.
No,
Just be
it's which women's title looks better.
That's not one of the options.
No, it's between Rhea's belt and Asuka's belt.
Yeah, didn't Rhea have this belt? I saw a picture that she. Well, you can't see it on the screen
Rhea's
behind me.
was the one that looks like Seth's.
Yeah,
Asuka's was the one that looks like Roman's,
yeah,
but
that's
white
what I'm saying.
strap.
I like Seth's replica. I like the one that he had, the world heavyweight
Right.
belt. That
Okay.
one looked very nice on Rhea. Although I'm not hating on Asuka's, I'm not. I think that it looks very good. Like if you want a belt that just screams the company belt, then yeah, you're gonna want to maintain that one. But I feel like
Right.
in terms of like what's a belt that I would buy, like if I was just roaming around an arena one day before a match started and I just saw these belts for sale, I'm definitely taking the white. I'm taking the white, obviously, but I'm taking Rhea's belt.
Right.
What do you
I can
think?
see that. I could definitely see that. I would probably have to agree. Uh, I think that the World Women's Title, aka Seth's replica, is probably the best one. I like Oscars, but I feel like one of the biggest problems that the women's belts have had, especially over the past couple of years, they've always looked too small. I feel like the
Really?
women's belts always look too small, but seeing that belt on Rhea and kind of like how she's being portrayed as this monster, I definitely think that it helps with the credibility of the title because the championship looks of size now.
You
I
think
think
when it was red and blue that it was too small?
yeah, when it was red and blue, they looked small in comparison to like what it is now.
Really? I'm
I think
surprised
so.
just because the females are all usually so tiny that I feel like it makes sense to normally their stature.
Well,
It only ever appeared small to me when a bigger person was wearing it, like
that makes sense.
the
That
ones
that
on
actually makes
Raquel or Naya. Yeah,
that actually makes sense. But I like from the aesthetic design from just like the aesthetic in general, not just the size, but I just love the design of the world championship, the world heavyweight championship, the one that Seth Rollins has. Um, and I love obviously because I love that design, I'm gonna love that design on any belt. So like seeing it on the white strap, I think was just super dope. I think it just looks really, really clean. And it looks like a big gold belt. And the ironic part about it is if you look at who's holding the world title and the world women's championship, they're both like Hunter's kids. Like
really.
Seth is one of the NXT guys that he brought in, and Rhea was kind of like I always said Rhea Ripley was like his like if you took Triple H and you brought him he was like birthed as a woman and was like the and was like the heavy metal kind of like emo rock kid. It would be Rhea Ripley. Like Hunter reminds me of Rhea Ripley reminds me of Hunter a
And I think
lot.
she knows this because I'm pretty sure,
Absolutely.
like during one of the NXT Halloween dress up things,
She
she
dressed up as
actually,
Triple H.
yeah, yeah.
And, and Shane Thorne dressed as China, which was hilarious. The fact
Oh,
that
they did that. I didn't
they
see
did
that
that.
part.
Rhea was Triple H and Shane Thorne was China, which
That's
the fact that
fucking
they
hilarious.
swap roles, I think, was just super duper funny. But yeah, I think that the World Women's Championship looks a lot better than the WWE Women's Championship. What were you gonna say?
It's just that ever since Whitney made like the sponge comparison, when the lighting is not good, and I don't think you're able to see it in any of these pictures. I just had it. And when it's in like the lighting inside the ring, it doesn't look like a sponge. But when they're in like backstage and the lights are, I guess, a little bit dimmer and not as like bright, it does end up looking kind of like a sponge. But it's not ugly. It's just that now my brain can't unsee it thanks to Whitney and her collages of sponges that she sent to the group chat.
Right. She loves
Yeah,
the
Whitney
good
was mad as hell, y'all. She was not happy about this.
at all. Literally at all.
Oh my god! But it goes with Asuka. I think it would go well on other women. I mean, I think that the white makes it look not dainty, but a little more feminine. Cause that's my thing with like the belts. For the women's belt, I want the belts to still look comparable to the men's. Not saying they had to look like the men's, but I feel like it needs to look like a legitimate grown ass women belt.
Right.
So I like how they still try to make it a little bit consistent to the men, but just gave them different colors and just gave them the white because it just seems a little more softer. But it's not like a soft looking belt, not like the Divas belt, for example.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
infamous, yeah, that butterfly belt pissed me off because it's just like it looks like something that would have been sold at Justice. Like, what grown ass woman is gonna fight for a butterfly? The only grown ass woman I want to see with a butterfly on them is Mariah Carey. Other than that, I don't need
I
that.
don't need that.
So
Right.
I don't need that. But I think it's gonna look great on every female, whether they are as expressive as Asuka or they're as like feminine as most of the other women. So I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I think both belts are very, even just like the women's championships, even when they were the Raw and SmackDown women's championships. I feel like after kind of like the Divas era, they've done a really good job at making the belts feel really neutral. Like I didn't feel like it needed to be modified for any particular superstar unless we're just talking about nameplates. So I think that WWE's done a really good job of making them a nice, like healthy balance. The white strap is very like it's very plain. It's plain enough so that whoever gives the belt life is going to kind of define the white. So like if it's Alexa Bliss, obviously is going to look more feminine because of who Alexa Bliss is. But if it's Rhea Ripley, it's just going to feel like a heavyweight title belt because Rhea Ripley is just kind of portrayed as this monster.
I
So
like that take. Yeah.
so shout outs to WWE for keeping it neutral, keeping it gender neutral uh in Pride Month. But we want to know how y'all feel. Which brand has the better women's championship belt aesthetic wise? Let us know in the comments. But we're moving on because this Saturday is the debut of AEW Saturday Night Collision on TNT at 7 Central. It's going to be headlined by a 6-man tag featuring Bullet Club Gold going up against CM Punk and FTR. And CM Punk obviously has been a very, very hot topic in wrestling for the past, I would say, 9 months, so to speak, ever since the All Out Brawl Out. And he said something this past Thursday on Dynamite in a promo saying that he has a lot to get off of his chest. So, first of all, what do you think he's going to be talking about? Are you excited for the return of CM Punk? And another offshoot question: what is your expectation for AEW Collision as a TV program?
Hmm. I feel like let me answer backwards. I feel like they're gonna go in with a bang.
Mm,
Um, just because I feel like they're on purpose doing it to just combat with whatever WWE is gonna put on that day.
mm,
But I feel like it's gonna be a good show, and we are gonna notice like some differences. It's gonna actually feel like there's gonna be some divisions with brands. So it's not just gonna feel like Dynamite, and then on the side, if you feel like it, there's extras on Rampage. I feel like it's gonna genuinely feel like two brands, the way we're used to seeing two brands with WWE and treating it like almost two different programs
mm,
that work together. So there's that, and I feel like if they're first of all, I mean that's crazy that CM Punk literally has a promo package for a leading up promo. Like, you know how good you have to be on the mic that someone literally is hyping up what you're gonna say. Not even in a match, just oh yeah, he's gonna say something, so be there on Saturday. Like you don't know what's gonna come out of his mouth, but it's gonna be crazy
mm.
because there's so many possibilities after again, like a year almost. So it just begs the question: is Punk gonna come back as a heel or a face with this promo? Is he going to swerve us? You know,
Mm.
is he going to give us a sob story in the beginning and then just blame us for everything he's been through while he was gone and address the issues? Or is he going to just drop all that and then, oh, I just smacked my phone. Or is he going to drop all that and he's going to just go straight into a storyline that bleeds with some things that are in the known and some things that, you know, are again just on storyline? Because I feel like he could go with more recent stuff realistically.
Mm.
He could instead of pointing fingers at people that he worked with, point fingers at reporters, because that's been his more recent beast that we heard him speak about. So he could like
Mm.
kind of dodge all that, choose to just like make a few jabs that are realistic, but then just keep it professional, stay on topic, talk about like his next feud. So we don't know. We really don't know, but I'm expecting something spicy. I'm expecting something very messy. I'm expecting something to be jaw dropping just because that's just CM Punk's fashion. And
Mm.
you don't hype up a promo like that for something weak.
Very true.
So I'm betting on him coming back as a heel, my
Mm.
personal opinion, because I don't think there's enough heels that stand out enough. And I feel like if you make him a heel, then by default you're going to like elevate all the other baby faces because you still have like that mixed crowd
Mm.
of some people who love Punk and other people who are just over him. So I feel like by default, I mean it's gonna help with other people that kind of need that charisma. I don't know. That's what I think.
Mm.
What do you think?
First off, I want to start off by saying that this is the reason why you bring CM Punk back into the company. I know we've had discussions over the past month. Is he a buzzkill to the locker room? Is he a positive or negative influence? And we are not backstage, so we don't know. Obviously, there's been people on both sides who have said, some people have been like, I don't like CM Punk, and some people have been like, CM Punk is the best. So we can't speak to what's happening backstage, but what we can speak to is the fans' reaction. And to be honest, the only bad reaction in wrestling is no reaction. If you're getting booed, you're valuable. If you're getting cheered, you're valuable, because that means that wrestler is making you feel something. And CM Punk, regardless of where you stand about him, he's going to make you feel something. There has been no point in the past 10 months where people have been indifferent about him. Everybody's either loved him and took his side or hated him. And that's exactly where you want to be as a wrestler. But to kind of go back to the main point, the fact that he is this polarizing, uh, I think is the reason why we have a lot to look forward to this Saturday, because it is his polarization that's letting us be like, well, what is he going to say? What do we not know? What's going to happen? As far as him being a heel or a face, I honestly don't know. This is the first time I've been very, very uncertain. But I do know for certain, I do know one thing. He's going to shake that room. He's going to shake the room, because we haven't heard him really say much of anything. We've seen the Bucks come back and Kenny come back and Brandon Cutler like these tweets and da 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 da, and Hangman cutting promos, and we've seen it all. We've seen John Moxley talk his talk, but we have not heard what CM Punk has to say, and he's just been watching everything. So understand, and now it's like now we're on two totally different rosters. Punk is on one roster, the Elite and the Combat Club, a Blackpool Combat Club, is on a completely different roster for a completely different night. Which means there's no reason for him not to talk his talk. He's in Chicago. He's not gonna get booed in Chicago. He's gonna shake the room. I don't know what he's gonna say. I just know that he's gonna shake the room. I don't know if he's gonna be a heel or face, but I think that he's probably gonna play it by ear and just kind of go off of the reactions of the crowd. And I think that this comes at no better time for AEW, right? Like, AEW has been building a lot of momentum. Their dynamites have been great. The match between MJF and Adam Cole was unbelievable. The
Mm-hmm.
finish was great. So like, I'm expecting a lot of big things from Collision, especially with the return of Thunder Rosa and Miro and all these guys. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. But want to know what y'all feel about the return of CM Punk, the debut of AEW Collision this Saturday. Let us know in the comments below. We're going to move on, though. So this past week, a former WWE backstage reporter who is known in WWE as Charly Caruso, um, who is now known, I think, by her real name, which is Charly Arnold. And she had a lot to say. I'm gonna make sure that I get this correctly, because she went on Twitter this past week and said something along the lines of, I don't. It was a picture, I believe, of two people who were topless on the White House lawn. Um, and she says, I don't care how you identify politically. If you are okay with this obscenity outside the White House, then you are deranged. The rest of the world is laughing hysterically at us. Um, and then somebody replied and said, I don't get it. One person is this, one person is that. And she was just like, oh, well, it's because they're both men. Um, but like, here's my thing. Um, well, first off, before I say, I want you to tell what you
Right, go
think.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
I don't. The thing that just blows my mind whenever it comes to politics is that nobody really keeps the same energy across the board,
Mm-mm.
and nobody really tells the entire truth. It's like, oh, they're laughing at us because of this gesture outside of the White House. It's like, really? They're laughing at
Mm-hmm.
America because of that, not because
Mm-hmm.
of gun policy or gun laws, not because of mass incarceration, not because of like our educational system, not because of the rate of obesity in the country, not because there's so many other laughable things about America. And saying that this is one of those things, I think it's just really, really weird and really, really backwards, because it's like there's so many other laughable things about the country that are not being addressed. And I feel like what ends up happening is that every 4 years, when there is someone in office that another group may not agree with, they tend to weaponize that person's party against them and the ideals that they stand for against them. And I feel like what's happening is that there are people on one side that are criticizing the Democrats because of his kind of like his position as far as supporting the LGBTQ plus community. And then they're like, oh, this, we can't stand for this. And then the other side gets in the office and then they do a bunch of stuff that's just irreprehensible and morally corrupt and wrong. And then the opposing party then tries to go at them for that. And it's just like, it's just annoying. But like, as far as this particular tweet, I just find it very, very interesting how not only is the energy not kept when it comes to parties and when it comes to people, when it pertains to this particular issue, she's not keeping that same energy. Because, sis, you was wearing all the Pride Month merch when you were working for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, we leave ESPN because of them covering trans athletes. And now all of a sudden, we're standing up for women. I don't know. I just feel like the moment that you start switching positions based on who you work for, it's hard for me to take you seriously. Because it's not, is it? I mean, did you hold this position when you were in WWE? Because, sis, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and it's just weird and it's confusing. But I also think that this goes to show you that we need to be very, very careful of who we consider an ally to the LGBTQ plus community, because not everybody who puts on the merch is actually going to stand by the community on issues that matter. And sometimes it's about advancing an agenda that they may not even be fully in alignment with. But that's kind of my take on it. But what was your take?
No, I agree with everything you said there, and yeah, very unfortunate for the LGBTQ plus community that you don't know who's your ally, who's actually endorsing you or supporting you guys. Because yeah, like you just said, we all saw that picture. And I think it came out just last year, if I'm not mistaken. Like around this time last year, everyone took a picture in front of a rainbow and had a pride shirt, and she was surely one of them. And I'm pretty sure she was pointing at the shirt with like a smile on her face, like So it's just very misleading and it's foul and it's
Mm,
disgusting that that's her take on it when it's just like again not even a year ago you were supporting and it's just like you weren't actually supporting, you're just doing what you had to do to maintain your job and get your bag and soon as you left, you took the first opportunity you could on a situation that no one asked you about, absolutely no one asked you about, and you took your time to slander. Not even so much because like the issue is that, I don't think really anyone should be taking their shirt off at the White House if you have the privilege to go over there. My personal opinion, that's regardless of what you are or you identify as gender wise or sexuality wise. I just don't agree with taking off my clothes at the White House just because I feel like it's a privilege to have been there.
Mm.
But like she went from basically saying that that's why they're laughing at us to her making it personal and then just calling them both two men. And it's clear as day that that's a transgender woman. She identifies as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just at that point you're just being petty and you're being malicious, and it's just like, again, for what?
Right.
I understand that we came to a point in this world where you're either on this side or this side. There's people who just you could give them all the facts and break it down to them as like the thought process that goes into this decision when some people want to make a change of their gender identification, whether it's a change of the way that they physically dress, them taking hormones, them going underneath the knife or whatnot. It's unfortunate that you could sit there and give people all that information and they'll just choose to be dense and just choose to be assholes. Like, you could also just shut up if you don't agree with it.
That
I'm not telling you to get with it, because like we're all humans and we're gonna all have our own like opinions on
opinions.
this.
Yeah.
I personally love I love people in all forms and shapes and sizes, and that's how they want to address themselves. Then by all means, whatever you feel like makes you feel the most you, go ahead and do it. But I just feel like if you have nothing nice to say, just don't speak on it at all, because you don't know how she felt when she looked at this comment, and you don't know how other people felt when they looked at these comments. Like, they have to go through this every single day, whether it's on the internet, whether it's them walking around in public, whether it's discrimination like jobs and whatnot, their dating life. Like, it's like a never ending thing with them. And
Right.
it's just, again, some things you could just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up, you know? I think the comment was mean. I think the comment was hurtful. I think Charly is a disgusting person, a hypocrite. She could go fuck herself. Sorry again, because this was going YouTube, and Jordan's gonna have to bleep me out for that one. But it's a shame. As far as her getting banned from the White House, I feel like that's a drag. By the way, I feel like they could have just gave her like a warning or even fined her for
That
taking her clothes off. But like, I didn't think that it was warranted to ban someone because isn't from my understanding, doesn't Biden support the LGBT,
Yeah,
and that was the whole
that's
purpose of,
one of like his major standing points. I mean, one of his major kind of political positions was his dedication and commitment to supporting the LGBTQ plus community. So
okay, so isn't it just kind of like counterproductive to make this a spectacle that the person is here, that you have a transgender person present at the White House, but then you're going to ban them? Like, I just feel like you could have went about this differently, saying, yeah, we didn't support the person, taking the extra mile of stripping or whatnot. They were just having a good time, got ahead of themselves. But they try to keep this to be a professional, family friendly environment.
right,
You know, like, that much I could understand if anyone's upset about. I completely understand if you're upset by the nudity, but I just feel like that's also hypocritical on the administration's part
right,
to just ban them flat out. Not saying that everyone should get a pass, because you could also make the argument too, what if it was a man flashing his penis? There's levels to this. There's definitely levels to this. But going back to my original point, I just think people need to be kinder. And like I said, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. That's my take.
I
That's my
agree.
full take.
I agree wholeheartedly on that. Also, I do want to say some. I'm gonna say this, and this is how we're gonna end. But like, I just think that we need to be careful of the systems that we defend. Um, Anytime I see kind of Charlie's positioning on this particular issue, I wonder if she knows that the system that she is implicitly defending is not going to protect her fully in the end. Um, when I see,
Elaborate.
oh, all right, cool, cool, cool. So this reminds me of Tommy Loren. Remember Tommy Loren? She was very like she, I think she still works for Fox, but she was a very, very, very well known a conservative commentator. She was on another network other than Fox, and when the Colin Kaepernick thing went down, she was very, very heavily and highly critical of Colin Kaepernick. And her rant led her to a bunch of followers and a big online following, and everybody supported her. And then she kind of started really digging into the Black Lives Matter movement and really saying, kind of expressing her viewpoints on it and why she felt it was false and how it wasn't productive or conducive or it wasn't legitimate.
That was
And
a
then all
stressful
of a
time.
sudden, and she just kept gaining momentum. Every time she made a remark, her rants went viral. Then she started to make commentary about abortion. And she said, if a woman has a right to own arms, I believe it's like if a woman has a right to own arms, she has the right to make the decisions with her own body. Out of the blue, the network she was on, I think, like, let her go. And then she eventually made her way to Fox. And then I actually did not hear her really take up that position, at least publicly. I don't want to say anymore, but at least I didn't see her take up that position as much as she used to when she originally cited it.
She's not as
And
powerful as she thought.
that's what I mean, is that I don't think that even she was realizing that she was defending a system that was only going to protect her for so long. Because it was like the moment she was in bounds, she was in the lines, and in the moment that she stepped outside of those lines, now we got to handle you. Now we got to deal with you. So when I see this Charlie Arnold situation, I hope, and I feel like she has a legit, like, she has legitimate feelings about this, and she really is like 10 toes down, and she wants to stand on what she's saying. Simultaneously, well, then again, I did express that she was kind of a hypocrite, so I'll take that back. But I think, she may
Yeah.
be serious about what she's saying. My question to her is, are you ready to fully defend a system that's not going to fully protect you?
No, she's
That
not.
system is white supremacy. That
That's why I said
system,
be quiet.
that
Just be
system
quiet.
is essentially only fully protecting and guarding cisgendered heterosexual white men, rich white men. And you're going to express points that they're going to align with, and they're going to promote you, and they're going to platform you. And then you're going to say something that's going to make a lot of sense, that's not in alignment with what they want. Are you ready to reap the consequences of that?
She doesn't even know what she's getting herself into with that.
We'll see.
And I
We
expect her to make more comments moving forward now that like she got a train going, she got attention going, and there's
Absolutely.
gonna be a handful of conservatives that are gonna support this mindset.
Right.
So I kind of do expect a similar thing, maybe not to the extent of what Tommy was doing, just because I mean she had the whole pandemic sitting in her house
Right.
to sit there and just like tweet away and just talk crap. But I see her pulling something, and I'm addressing this only because I feel like we kind of need to move forward, like not give it attention, because I don't put it past her to get a high off of this.
Oh yeah.
People love that endorphin high. They
Absolutely.
love getting that Twitter engagement endorphin high, or it making into articles and stuff like that. And she thinks she's doing something for her network or her platform, for what she's doing and building herself as a brand. I just think that like we could address it now, but I just feel like just leave her in the back as an afterthought, and like let's not continue to entertain people like this.
I
Just because
agree.
yeah, no, she's just a terrible person. Like I don't understand why, again in 2023, why it bothers you that someone literally is just expressing themselves physically differently. It's not affecting like your life, it's not affecting your bills or whatnot. It's something that they're doing for their own selves, for their own mental health, so they feel comfortable living on this planet that we're all occupying. I just don't understand why you can't just let people just be like, mind your own business. It's really not that hard. I think that if it's really bothering you, you're not doing enough things in life. When something's
That
bothering me on the internet, sometimes I just fucking keep scrolling. She could have just kept scrolling and just left it alone. I don't know why she had to put her 2 cents into it. But I digress. I digress.
I have like a whole theory on that, but I won't get into it. But I definitely wanted to say, like, anybody who has any commentary about this, let us know. Comment below. Um, but yeah, that concludes today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us once again. Once again, next week we're doing a space for Collision. Be sure to tune in and tap in with us because, as you know, spaces are always a great
Forbidden
time.
door.
Huh?
Forbidden door.
Forbidden. Oh wow.
It's a collision.
Forbidden Door. My bad. We're doing a Forbidden Door space. Be sure to tap in with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see y'all next week.